What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another international scrim. These are some of the best players in the world playing TFT against each other to try to prep for their regional competitions, and then for Worlds soon after that. We're into loot subscription, and we're actually watching a different POV. This is a replay game this time. I know somebody in the comments, one of the last couple of videos I put out, said I should watch a replay because he had a fantastic day of scrims, and something that I thought was really interesting is he really kind of laser focused in on only a few comps, which I know you guys love because you can be like, oh, well, I'll just hard force that comp, GG's. And I mean, you shouldn't think like that, but it can be cool to see somebody hard focus on a line, learn it really, really well, and you know, go from there. All right, first big decision of the game here. We fielded the Soraka plus Blitzcrank here. Do we want to buy, sell anything? We're started with a Chain Rod. This could easily be a Crown Guard for frontline. The question is, do you want to sell this Chase, pick up like the Ziggs here, and potentially hold a Honeymancy opener? I think with the Rod, it's perfectly fine, but we'll see. And yes, Replay is going to go for this. This is an opener that we talked about a lot this patch that people are pretty low on. People don't really like playing around Honeymancy, but I mean, when this is your only option, I think, I mean, you have to play some kind of board to start the game off with, and we potentially have AP items to start with, so we will see here what we want to do. Sell the Zillion here. Wait, let's go back here. Sell the Zillion here. Zillion, a great early unit, but just doesn't fit with our board, and he's just going to pick up this Bastion pair. I think this makes sense, right? We don't have any shapeshifters to play around with. The Bastions could potentially come into play later. Tristana would be some DPS, but I think this is fine. All right, first augment here, Zap Attack, Replication, Combat Caster. Combat Caster is a fantastic, generically strong augment here. Zap Attack, we have one Blitzcrank. We do have good slams. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, because I believe that Mr. Rereplay does not go for Zap Attack here, but quick stats check here, Zap Attack. I mean, it's perfectly fine. We have a Blitz already, and we have a Slam already for him. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that he doesn't want to take this. And he has the Duplicator as well. I feel like this could just be a Zap Attack game, but maybe Replay not so high on this. And I will say, he probably already has his game plan here from 2-1. So once he takes his augment, once he takes his augment and makes his first slam, we can talk about it. Rolls everything, picks up some good options as well. Big gains. We don't really want to play reroll from this spot, I would say, so it has to be either What Doesn't Kill You or Thorn Plated. Both great options, right? We have the Thorn Plated with potentially a Gargoyle Slam, which would be really, really nice. Just get a really tanky unit, or What Doesn't Kill You if we're not as confident in our board. We don't really have the strongest of starting boards, and Replay is going to do a fantastic thing here. Super, super smart stuff out of Replay. He is going to scout the lobby here and say, how strong am I in relation to the rest of this lobby? And he also full opens here, which is really, really smart. He needs to lose with this augment. But I love what Replay did. He said, you know, compared to the rest of this lobby, I'm really quite weak. There's no way I'm going to win fights with this board, so I'm just going to full open in this spot. I don't have a board to play from this position. What he does, though, have is a game plan. He's going to pop this. I assume we're looking at like a needlessly big gem or maybe an Aegis, and then we can kind of talk about the comp that Mr. Replay is thinking towards. And yeah, I think the gem makes the most sense here, and he can actually make 20 gold here, which is fantastic. But I think Replay's idea from minute 1 here in this game is I have a Gargoyle and half of a Gwynsu's Rageblade, and I can full open here. I'm going to play this Faerie Kalista comp. This is the comp that absolutely dominated last patch, got brought back a little bit, and in B patches and stuff like that, but it's still very, very strong. And you know, when you want to play a Lost Streak opener like this, it's very good. And Replay just played it in he played it in most of his games. He played you know, out of, I think it was 7 games, he played like 4 fairy games, at least 3 fairy games. So he really, really, really likes this comp, I would say, based on the games that we're seeing. And I'm interested in seeing how he's going to pilot at this game. But yep, just going to throw in the standard version into the planner. If you are not familiar with this comp, this is what you're usually playing for. It's this 5 fairy setup along with a Zillion and a Jax to give you Chrono and Multi-Striker. Then Hecarim fits in for Bastion. He's also got the Bard in here, which is kind of interesting, is maybe like a +1 down the line. And maybe these are all the units that he would ever consider holding. Bard's kind of interesting because, you know, he'll pair with Melio later if we can get to that. Obviously, not going to break 30 gold to hold any of this stuff, and have to imagine that we're just going to go for the Gwynsu off carousel here. But yeah, these components obviously look great for the fairy comp. Gwynsu is 2 gold, so I think we can absolutely pick that up. And yeah, this looks great. Our spot looks very, very straightforward. And yeah, he just wants to scout around and see, okay, how many people are potentially playing this? You know, he looks at Michael. Michael has a Gargoyle slammed and an Econ Augment as well, and a gem as well. I didn't, what did Michael, it looked like Michael took Sword there. So then I don't think they're going to be playing for fairies in this spot. We could gain a 1-star copy of a random champion you feel the last combat and get nothing. That would be pretty cool. I wonder what happens if you pick this Augment after fielding nothing. Do you just get an orb that's completely empty? I don't know. Replay gonna field a little bit of a board here because he does want to, not die to Krugs. He wants to build a few units onto his board here. And also, we fought that Patient Study player first, which means that there's really no risk of someone like full opening versus us. We're actually in a really, really good spot as far as that stuff goes. So we'll see. I'm also interested to see how Replay uses this. Ooh, another Rod that's another half Gwinsu. That'll be great for us, I would say, as long as we can pick up another bow down the line. But we haven't naturaled any bows yet, which is fantastic for us. That means we're quite likely to end up getting more bows. Now, this Kian player, ended up losing. So yeah, Replay just making sure last second, if he needs to, he can sell stuff. He is going to play the 2 Blaster on this board. I can't imagine this is going to get a kill, but yeah, we get a nice 5 loss, 70 HP, which is pretty standard when you don't kill a single unit. I think he probably fought like level 3 to start the game, and it's pretty high roll actually to fight Kian here, who's level 4. This was really good because we're interrupting their streak. That player's pretty low, so they're on a decent loss streak already. All right, we have a decent enough board that, there's no way that we're going to lose to Krugs here. We've got, some front line, some back line. We've got Bastion and Blaster in, so this looks good. Replay would love to maybe fit Faerie, and I actually haven't looked. I'm down to do a quick statistics check here and look just for Faerie. Yeah, I mean, Faerie +1 looks amazing in the stats now, and I think this makes a lot of sense. They buffed up 7 Faerie decently this patch. Pick up a sword here. Ooh, I'm really, really interested to see how Replay uses sword in this comp, because this is something that I always struggle with when I play Faerie, is what do you actually do with the sword here? He has too many items, so he can't actually pick this up. It's a spat that's great that can go towards Faerie Emblem. We do not have the Faerie Emblem just yet, but we can look at it. And to be fair, we don't have to play Faerie from this spot. We end up duping this this Rumble here. We do have the Gwinsu's Rageblade open, so I do think that's something that we should theoretically look at. But if you wanted to play something else, there's probably something we could go for. He does go for the Gunblade. Wow, okay. So I think I was looking at statistics, and here I can bring these stats up for you guys as well, just to show you guys how I would look at stats here. But if you just throw in Kalista, 5 Faerie, you can also do tier 2 plus to include 5 and 7 Faerie, and then Rakan on this board. Look at a 2-star Kalista with 3 items, and you go to items here, throw in a Gwinsu because we already have that. Throw in the Fairy Queen's crown, throw that in, and you look at like the last item. You see like Gwinsu does fine on her, but the one of like another decent item on her is Gunblade. If I can find it. Yeah, just barely positive delta. And you look at like almost all the other Kalista items, almost all of them outside of these, outside of another Gwinsu, like Hextech Gunblade is the next best craftable item. It is still much worse than Gunblade in the statistics, but I think you get a sword, you have that rod open. I mean, I think it makes sense to make this here. So yeah, I think this is a good call from Replay, and good to know that this is actually a very slammable item in this spot here. We still don't have Faerie in here. I mean, Epoch for Econ seems reasonable, but it does end up putting you in this double Econ spot, but I don't think we want to take either of these. Definitely not taking Golden Quest here. 3's a crowd. I don't think we're going to be fitting that many, so I guess we are going to have to end up taking Epoch here, which is going to be interesting. We're going to be double Econ in this, but I mean, maybe you could take 3's a crowd. I mean, you have Hecarim in, you have Katarina in, that's 2. I don't know that you have another 3 cost on this board, so seems tough. Maybe you could roll this hoping to hit something better, and then worst case you take Epoch, but yeah, he's not that interested in playing around it. He is just going to keep this board up. Also, he did end up using the duplicator just to make a Rumble too, which was an interesting decision. I like it a lot. Just kind of thinking about it though, with the idea that we just need to save HP at this point, right? We're really, really rich here. We don't need to use this dupe to like make a Katarina 2 or anything like that. We'll find Katarina 2 with the amount of gold that we have, but we can continue to have a decent loss streak here, make a bunch of money, and then we'll get to be a stronger board later. Also, he's holding onto these Wukongs for now, though he might end up selling a Wukong just so that he can pre-level in this spot. I guess he won't be able to because he would have to help. Oh wow, he's actually just gonna full regular level here for the just the Katarina here as a solid unit onto his board, and Arcana selector, the Hecarim, play 2 Hecarims. He's just trying to feel the strongest board he can, and he knows that 1 gold at this point in the game is really not that big of a deal. This is also potentially a really good board for him to fight because he can get a quite good loss here. Yeah, good loss versus this player. Only a 3-unit loss, so down to 43 HP, not bad. If we can find a Kalista or a Rakan on Carousel, that'd be fantastic. There is not one. There are many spats though, and pans as well. He's gonna pick up the pan, looking at, well, I mean, we'll see actually. Is he interested in just making the fawn here and getting an extra unit slot on his board? Or I mean, surely that's what he's looking at, right? I mean, he picks up a giant spell off this. I can't I mean, the fact that you're holding both of these, I don't know. Is he really gonna like greed for Faerie +1 and then like another +1? No, yeah, he's just gonna make this. I think this makes sense. Gonna allow him to play some more stuff late game, maybe get some more preservers in on the board or something like that. So yeah, I think this makes sense. And you know, maybe down the line he can play like 7 Fairy and actually fit it onto the board. Well, we'll see, we'll see. But I mean, I think this makes sense. It's a good item in almost any comp. Getting an extra unit onto your board is always not bad. But okay, we take one more loss here. We are on a 9-loss streak here. I think Rereplay. It's interesting to say, like, I wonder if you would prefer to win or lose this next fight. Because obviously losing this fight is worth a lot of gold. It's worth 3 gold from your loss streak. It's worth 2 gold from your augment. So yeah, it's worth 5 gold. And then it also continues on into minions, so it's worth 8 gold. So this is an 8 gold loss here, but also saving HP is definitely not bad when you're down this low. Looks like we'll see what the Neela can do, actually. We might actually end up winning this. It's quite close. The Neela ult, the Bard ult. Oh my god, he is just barely going to win this. But I don't think Rereplay can be too upset about winning this. And boom, there's a Kalista that's fantastic for us. That's already good. I mean, really, really good to start off with that, because this means we can just 4-1 and hit basically the entire board. We'll see. I'm also really curious to see where this Gunblade ends up going, like how long it's going to stay on Kalista. Maybe it'll just stay on Kalista forever, or if there is some other option he's going to go for here. But this is going to be the roll down here for sure. Picks up a random Vex too, which it's interesting that he's even holding on to it. There's the Rakan in. Gonna just start distributing some of these items. Gonna make the LW there. Yep. Gonna go for the Gargoyle here, and I have to imagine it's gonna be a Warmogs as well. We pick up a Morgana, which is fantastic. Have to imagine this is gonna be Redemption over Warmogs is interesting there. Huh, I didn't know that. Okay. I mean, let me just delve into the stats a little bit, because I would have thought that it was Warmogs here, but let's just go look at Rakan items. I mean, you can also just go and look at builds and then sort to just Rakan. And you can see these two builds. The statistics like Warmogs a little bit better. I'm a little bit surprised that he went for Redemption here, just looking at the two builds. Huh. I wonder why. Yeah, and also, yeah, I would think keeping the tier open would be better than keeping the belt open. Maybe he wants to keep the belt open for heal cut. He has no heal cut yet. That must be it. He's looking for like a Morello. Whereas if he makes Warmogs, then he just has tier open. We do have Fairy +1 in the options here. We also have little buddies in the options here. This is another spot where you could do like a kind of an augments into stats check here, and look at just Fairy Crest is a 3.52, and then little buddies 3.58. So about almost exactly the same. But he's just going to snap up that little buddies real quick. This makes sense, though, right? We have an extra unit slot, so we can actually fit in lower cost units onto this board. You know, like right now. I mean, I guess right now we just have an extra preserver onto this board, but I mean, hey, that preserver is getting buffed up by little buddies, so it makes sense. Yeah, I'm surprised actually he waited a little bit on this roll, because I feel like we do still really need to roll to get stable here. We do end up hitting Rakan too, which is really, really big. And I can't imagine these bards are going to come into level 9. The big question now for Replay is, when do we stop? When do we stop rolling in this spot? We're Kalista paired here, so I've made the mistake personally of saying I'm just going to go 9 on this board. You know, I have Kalista, and that'll carry me to 9. And I've died for it. But, you know, there's also the argument to be made that you can go 9 off a board like this. We've found a lot of upgrades already. So maybe we just, hey, we sit on this board, go 9, and then we can hit Kalista 2 on 9. It also depends on how contested this comp is. But I think Replay is one of the only people in this this line. There's a multi-strikers player who is going to try to steal some Kalistas down the line, but this guy's also level 7, 0 gold. So pretty low likelihood of them picking up a Kalista here. But yeah, I mean, we can see if the Rakan can tank it. The Ashe is sniping backline through the Rakan, which is really bad. I mean, I don't think Rakan can kill an Ashe here. That's a bad loss, down to 24 HP, losing that fight. Really, really rough. We are 50 gold, which is the upside towards going 9. So I imagine we held this just to go for the Morellos here, I would think, to guarantee the heal cut. And yep, that's what Rereplay went for. This makes so much sense, yeah. So you slam the Redemption in that spot because he really, really wants to get to Morello, so he actually has some heal cut onto this board. The tier could obviously be like a Shojin for Emilio down the line, but obviously we're not guaranteed to find Emilio, and we're not guaranteed to find heal cut. Interesting decision. Do you want to play Camille here? I guess you do, because you already have so many little buddies. But you do obviously lose a little buddy playing Camille. But I mean, he's got so many little buddies. Yeah, he is actually rolling a bit currently on level 8, and he's going to make this Morello onto the Morgana. Really good unit to spread it. We're going to fight this Poppy board, which looked kind of scary. The Poppy almost went straight to our backline, but then she started bouncing back to frontline. So we are going to win this fight, which is nice. Yeah, this small little like figuring out, is this a push 9? Is this just a continue to roll at 8 angle is so interesting to me, figuring out. And I think Replay has made the call. We need to find Kalista 2 before we're that confident about going 9. Or at least what we need to do is roll for a charm every round. Because what he's doing here is he's just rolling for charm in this spot, and then he's going to chill on the board. Holding on to this Ari as well as a potential level up to get Arcana in, and also potentially get Scholar in once we find the Melio, and it's a little buddy. I mean, I like this a lot. Bard's for Preserver, which is the big thing as well, though. So I wonder what he's going to end up finally getting in here. This is a standout performance. I don't know how long the Morello stayed active here, but this is one of those boards where you need Morello to get through it. So smart stuff from Rereplay to play for that Morello. And I mean, he's made it to the point now where he just rolled a little bit for charm every round, but he's 73 gold here. If he gets any gold for minions, he's in a spot where it looks like he can push levels, but we'll see what he decides to do. I mean, I think at this point, 73 gold, you probably just have to make the call to push 9, especially because we're holding this +1 to put in. And yeah, we got a lot of gold there. There's Camille 2, which is huge. We're gonna level up. We don't really have items for Camille at this point. We do need to find a Kalista 2 so that we actually have some damage here, but there's Kalista 2, there's the Ari in. We already have the item onto, or the selector onto Hecarim, which is good. Opposite plays Xerath here over the Ari. That's kind of interesting. Let's look at it in a sec. And he ends up reforging into a BT. That's beautiful stuff for Replay. And he's even looking at tiering the Morgana, the Morgana to get faster cast here, and gonna sell these units off, not looking for any kind of 3-star 4 cost in this spot. I mean, his board looks great. He took a big loss streak to get here, but now he's here. All right, so it's actually a really interesting call, Ari versus Xerath. Ari makes your board like stronger for now. We also pick up Amelia, which is fantastic. That also makes me really want to look at playing this Ari because she's Scholar. But yeah, Ari makes your board a bit stronger for now because obviously, and this was smart. He opted to not tier the Morgana. He opted to just put that onto the Melio to get the quicker cast, and this also leaves a slot open onto Morgana if Melio ends up getting to the point where he's farming her items. Very smart from Replay. But yeah, like, Ari is Scholar on this board, and it is a little buddy. Xerath, the only reason you play Xerath here is he's a little bit of damage, and he's these Xerath charms, right? You can get stuff like the Lovers here, which is, a solid econ charm in this spot. Also, he's rolling to 0 every round. I think this is interesting because, I mean, I feel like he's actually in a pretty good spot where he could econ up a little bit just so he has enough gold for charms. He's still got 10 gold left over, I guess, so, I mean, he'll be fine. But yeah, I feel like I would end up in the pool where I would just play the Ari, get little buddies on all of my units, and it's Scholar for Melio. But Replay wants to play on the Xerath here. I mean, it's an interesting call. I mean, obviously these Xerath charms can end up like swinging fights, so that's the thinking behind it. All right, we can look for Camille item here. We can look for Melio item here. Not a Camille item left, so I guess we're just gonna go for the Gwinsus onto. Ooh, wait. We're this far into the game. Is it going to be a remover, move Gunblade over, and then double Gwinsu the Kalista? And then just, Gunblade like Camille or something here. Armor looks fine. Yep, that's the call. Okay. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. He actually Gunblades the Morgana now that we have Morgana 2. Doesn't care about the double healing. Yeah, I mean, I think this makes sense. When we had just Camille 2 and Morgana 1, I think, it kind of has to on the Camille, but now that we have Morg 2, just throw it onto her. And I mean, he had the damage to kind of guarantee that he was going to hit this. This board, so scary, but we did get a bunch of damage from the gem. Yeah, we do end up beating them. My God, that Vex was so tanky, but they just don't have Vagar 3. They can't actually beat our board. All right. The Chariot, not amazing. He's just looking for good charms the rest of this game. He doesn't really have that much gold left to play with here. So yeah, just finds a solid charm here in this trench coat onto the Hecarim. If we still had remover, you can do the cool thing where you like cheese a trench coat onto like Morgana here. But sadly, we don't have the remover because we needed to use it to move items off Kalista. But hey, not too bad. Big win versus Snooty Boo here. I mean, look how strong this board is once we get there. It's doing insane work. Also, he put in he put Bard in for a round and then completely decided against it. Yeah, I mean, a 3 to 4 Preserver, based on my understanding, is, it's a little spike to get there. But Arcana, it's AD, it's DR to your entire board. I think I agree with Replay's decision here. Get a support item here. I don't know, Virtue of the Martyr. I mean, it's more healing. Yeah, I guess Virtue is fine. And then item here for Camille. IE looks great. Virtue throws it onto a backliner. He also got a random component there. What was that off of? Was that off Charm? Did he have Sticky Fingers or something? Whatever, he got a component. So now he has a Adaptive Helmet to Melio. That's fantastic. Unless Melio like farmed him a component or something. But hey, either way, we win this fight. 24 HP win streaking, and we got one more fight left versus Snooty Boo. Just rolling for a good Xerath Charm, 10% damage amp. It's not really that good compared to a lot of other stuff. The target dummies are actually not that bad versus Poppy. Poppy just to give her something to hit, just to waste some of her time. So yeah, I like this here. And the big thing here is making sure Zillion ends up onto the Poppy at some point. Our Zillion's in absolute Narnia compared to the Poppy, so we're not gonna be able to get a Zillion bomb onto Poppy yet, but you know, still our board looks very strong. Camille does so much damage. Oh my god, Kalista almost gets sniped, but she ends up winning it, and it is the dub for Rereplay on this this comp. I mean, a lot of cool stuff about the itemization. I think talking about like the Gwynsu's Rageblade was really cool. That does that the choice in hindsight to make Redemption versus Warmogs, even though Warmogs is like quote unquote the better item, I think was genius from Replay to allow him to get towards the Morello. A lot of the slams he made late game towards getting items onto Camille and to Morgana were really good, and just the fact that he angled this spot from 2-1, even with the duplicator. He said, you know what, my spot is so good to play Kalista, and it doesn't look like, you know, no one else in the lobby played Kalista. This comp seemed pretty underplayed in this lobby, so Replay just gets it for free, and it's an easy dub. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check my Twitch and all my other links down below. Thank you guys for watching.